Yo, what's up YouTube family? It's your boy Koozie back at you with another hot TikTok reaction video. Go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's get it, baby. California, what y'all got going on?
I'm gonna show you something. Check this out. These are cabbages, right? What do they look like to you? Look like little dinosaur eggs, huh? These are cabbages. These look like Cabbage Patch Kids. If you know, you know. Next batch of babies is done.
No cap, they could be some Cabbage Patch Kids, or it could be them aliens out of Alien vs. Predator. You know what I mean if you've seen the movie.
This is the injectable microchip DARPA wants implanted in the brain of every soldier. The Brainstorms chip will allow recipients to control weapons with their thoughts and turn off emotions like fear and anxiety. Brainstorms uses nanotransducers that are guided to the brain with magnetic waves. Once at the target site, they convert neuronal activity into magnetic signals that can pass through the skull to be decoded by a helmet-based receiver. Patents show that this technology can even modify neural wiring, which raises the terrifying question: does the bi-directional design mean that soldiers can also be controlled?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, they're trying to make super soldiers. Crazy.
It's sort of nanotechnology to target drugs. So if we attach a specific drug to the nanoparticles here, we could put it in the entire body and it would all be dilute. But if we target an organ with a strong magnetic field, we can actually cause all of the drugs to go.
So if we attach a specific drug to the nanoparticles here, we could put it in the entire body.
Hold up, that's what I'm saying. Did I just hear what I thought I just heard? Yeah, I think we did. Man, what is wrong with these folks, man? What else could they use this for? Just think about that. And there's a lot of people out here, unless I showed it to you, would never believe it was real. I'm just gonna say it like that, and it gets worse.
No, it is not a mosquito. It's an insect spy drone which can be remotely controlled and is equipped with a camera and a microphone. It can land on you, and it may have the potential to take a DNA sample or leave a fit tracking nanotechnology on your skin. It can fly through an open window, or it can attach to your clothing until you dock it in your home. One of the current areas of research reportedly being undertaken in the scientific/military field is the development of micro-air vehicles, MAVs, tiny flying objects intended to go places that cannot be safely reached by humans or other types of equipment. PL zoom and see actual equipment. This is 5th generation war.
Well, I'm telling you, like I said, unless you've seen it with your own eyes, you wouldn't believe it. This stuff is crazy, man. And it's around you all day, every day. And you don't got to be doing nothing wrong. You could be doing something right and still be in the way. And to get this stuff used on you, man. For real, for real. It's best to know, though.
Look at you, mortals. Come by. If you
Crazy. I'm telling you. Spooky. No, I'm just playing. Ain't nothing to be scared about, you know what I'm saying, or afraid about, because this is all, man, hey, it's all man-made technology, man. But like I was gonna say, that's 4D hologram technology for people that may not know. That's yeah, like I say, you would never believe it unless you seen it with your own eyes. If you'd have seen that without seeing some stuff like this, you probably believed it was true. You wouldn't know what to do. You probably get on your knees and pray. which is okay. I must say that, which is okay, before people get in the comments, oh, what's wrong with that? But the people who know, I ain't, you know, y'all know what's going on. Just something to think about, something to make your mind wonder. I ain't gonna say it's fake and I ain't gonna say it's real, man, but y'all never forget, these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe anything that you hear or see in these videos. Don't believe anything that I say in these videos. Always use your own discernment. Always do your own research. Never forget that.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the
Man, he got balls of steel, man, or is he just dumb as hell? Because ain't no way I stand under that, man. I have to, you know, make sure it's going to hold for at least a day or two or a week, you know what I'm saying? And still, I wouldn't want to stand under that. That's crazy. What the hell? Ew, that's disgusting, man. I don't know what I would do if I found some fruit that's like that, man. That's crazy. It's like got his tongue out like it want to taste you. If you want to taste it and eat it, it want to taste you. That's crazy.
Happens when pure potassium touches water.
And they're putting that in bananas?
That's not true. Not with the bananas. That was wild, man. Who would have knew, man? I ain't saying it's true. I ain't saying it's fake, but hey, that's crazy. But it's not so far-fetched, really, though.
So talk about Harvard.
Sure. Harvard, actually, from its very beginnings in 1636, the college by 1638 actually has an enslaved man living on campus who's referred to as the Moor.
The Moor.
The Moor. And that actually is directly related to two slave trades.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people from my last video saying that nothing's coming, nothing's gonna happen, I'm paranoid, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell you like this is where I'm working, okay? I'll read that. That's where I'm working right now. The man who owns that company, I'll say Sheelon Tusk. You know, y'all know Sheelon Tusk. Find the rhyme, the rhythm. He has us working 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. I'm an electrician. I wire up all the machinery that they're using to build the trucks. I'm wiring up all the machinery that they are using to build these robots, okay? We are working 12 hours, 7 days a week. I have worked for TikTok. I have worked for Amazon. I have worked for Samsung. I have worked for Fortune 500 companies all year. Nobody is pushing their people like this, okay? 12-hour shifts. He is trying to complete this for something. I promise you, bro, soon as these robots go online, it will kill 80% of the job force. All you people driving trucks in restaurants who don't think this can happen in Japan, they already have robots serving tables. They already have nurses that are being robotically projected from monitors to help patients. Your job is not safe, okay? 80% of the workforce will be killed by these robots. As soon as he puts these AIs inside of these robots, I promise you, bro, they will think, be smarter, faster, and they do not need to sleep, bro. We call in. I called in 3 days ago because I worked 6 days straight. Robots don't do that, and that's what they are pushing for, bro. Have you sitting at home, with the real ID, with your Fed now money, taking free governmental universal income, slave, bro. Victim to the system, bro. They do not want you out here moving how you want. They do not want you collecting resources. They don't want you to do anything without their knowledge, bro. They want to track every transaction. They want to track your whereabouts. They want to know what you're thinking, bro. And all they want to do is monetize and commercialize that. It's that mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is taking things that should not be for money or for sale and making them for sale, like your soul, love, things of that nature, bro. And y'all say that it's not coming, bro. It's right around the corner. I promise you, bro, this is coming. Where I'm working right now has proven that. This man sends drones on the top of the buildings, drones inside the building to count how many people are working at all times. This is not a game, bro. I'm telling you, this is just his company, bro. Imagine what they're doing. Like Facebook, all these companies are together. They're acting like they're competitors. They're not. They all have one agenda, bro. And each of them are doing their part. I promise you. I need y'all to really think about this, bro. They're building bulletproof trucks with robots. I don't know if you've seen it, but look it up. Recently, a guy just got pulled over in Dubai by a Cybertruck police, and it had a robot in it, and the robot gave him a ticket for using his phone and not being buckled up. And they sent the fine to his phone. I promise you, bro, these cars are not for normal civilians. You do not make bulletproof trucks for civilians. He is going to supply and fleet out the military and the police force, bro. We will not be able to run and hide. They've already stopped making V8 engines and trucks, and the Chargers are no more Hellcats or Hemis being produced. They're all V6s. We will not be able to escape this shit, bro. I promise you, bro, these robots are gonna take your job. They're going to be police forced. They're going to be the new revolution, bro. And we're gonna be on our asses like Idiocracy. I promise.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I hope y'all was paying attention because he ain't lying. He's not lying, man. And it's coming, man. I'm telling you, y'all see how quick AI has moved up and has advanced, man, in these last couple of years. Well, this stuff is not a joke, man. And just think about it. If common sense ain't so common, but I know some of y'all got it. You know, y'all peep the play. Let's go. Hey, but y'all still gonna drink it, right?
I know it's late, but I have got to show you all this because something very, very spiritual is about to go down. So these are actually dragonflies in Rhode Island, and I happen to specifically know what this symbolizes. Because when my son died, there were millions of dragonflies at his burial.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. Oh my...
Now some are calling this a biblical plague, others are calling this biblical. They're partially correct because this is obviously a movement from God. And like I said, when we went to bury my son, there were millions of dragonflies, and only that one time. So the significance of a dragonfly is literally a spiritual change, a transformation is about to happen. This translation for me was my son was translated into the kingdom of heaven. I was spiritually made new as God showed me the secret of life. But right here, I think this is a massive spiritual change that all of us are about to witness. We know that ends here, right?
Man, I don't know. You think it's biblical, or do you think it's just something natural, a natural occurrence, you know, that happens every so often, every so many years or so, like the locust? Let me know down below in the comment section.
Incredible new footage showed the eruption of Mount Sakurajima on the island of Kyushu. volcano spews volcanic ash high into the air, prompting authorities to issue an ash warning. Plumes of ash rose up to 6 kilometers into the air over Minami Lake. After several years of inactivity, the volcano appears to be becoming very active again. Fine volcanic dust covered nearby towns and villages. Sakura-jima, one of Japan's most active volcanoes, has been active for decades, sometimes erupting more than 200 times a year. The volcano is part of a national...
Once again, do y'all think it's a natural disaster, or do y'all think it's a natural occurrence, or do you think it's something biblical? Let me know down below in the comment section. Crazy.
Didn't Gaddafi try to give him like $1 billion and the United States blocked it?
Of course, brother. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, man, I'll be pleased with our brother, was not some dictator. See, it's funny how the media will make you look like a damn monster. Oh, well, I'll just say this. In Libya, number one, Libya under Colonel Muammar Gaddafi had zero debt. They had free education, free health care. If you wanted to go to school abroad, they would give you the money and pay for the tuition, and they would pay for your room and board. When you got married, they would give the family $5,000. If you wanted to own a farm, they would give you all the tractors, all the seeds, and the land to till that farm. Gaddafi and the country of Libya was one of the only countries on the planet that had zero debt, was completely free to do whatever they wanted to do. And that's why they called him a dictator, because he would not allow America to have access to that wealth. He was going to create a joint currency using the wealth under the feet of the Libyan people, the gold, the oil, etc., and the wealth of the nearly 50 other countries in Africa, and come together to create a African currency. That money, based on the African worth, would have bankrupt China's yuan, it would have bankrupt America's dollar, it would have bankrupt the European pound. So that was removing total neocolonialism from the planet. And they said, we need to get rid of this nigga now, because if he comes to power with those other 50 countries in Africa, we will have to bow to them. And we do not want to bow to them.
What's the problem? Y'all know what's up.
Y'all can do all the evil, abominable things you want in this world, but one thing you can't do in this world is take away the glory of God. This is Paris, but look right here in the background. What is that? One building out of all of Paris is lit up. What is that? A church. Go figure. And it's the same exact thing in destruction, disaster. Here's Oklahoma, and we see what arrives as a picture of Jesus Christ in utmost destruction. And don't even come at me by the name Jesus until you watch this video, you religious legalist. All your crap has already been debunked. And the same exact thing we see when houses are burnt down and the Bible is preserved. And just because you don't hear about it every day does not mean it doesn't happen every single day. And this very recently was just over the island of Greece. And one thing is certain, by you being wicked, by accepting the wicked, by bringing the wicked in your churches, it will not take away our light. And at the end of time, only the people with a relationship with Jesus Christ will inherit the kingdom of heaven. He's been showing y'all all along that he is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. Instead, y'all worship crap like LeBron James.
Do you know what's going on? Do you know what's going on? That's all I can say, because there's a lot of people out here that think they know what's going on, but you don't know what's going on. You're stuck in this cycle of this everyday, you know what I'm saying? False reality, man. It's a lot going on that's real, man. Like I'm saying, though, what I'm really getting at is the image, man, that was nice and all, man, but I really hope it wasn't AI generated, man, that they trying to fool everybody with, you know, like a couple of y'all know, you know, how they been trying to put this AI stuff out here to fool us and stuff, you know, because they know we making these videos. But yeah, I do think it was, you know, I do think God was, you know, doing his thing and everything too, though, for sure. But y'all know, man, y'all know. We got to stay prayed up, man, because they trying to take us out, you know. I'm talking in code in a way, so I hope y'all understand it, man. But let's get it.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all better leave quiet people alone. It's the reason why they quiet. It's the reason why they stay to themselves. It's the reason why they don't fuck with people. They don't fuck with fake people. It's the reason why they go to work and come home and mind their business. It's the reason why they are just introverts. Y'all better stop messing with quiet people. I call quiet people the quiet storm, because it's a storm deep down inside that you do not want to see, that you do not want to experience. And I know some of y'all call quiet people punks and, oh, they ain't about that life. Because, honey, I'm going to tell you something. Quiet people, oh, yeah, they are about that life. They about it and more. And see, what's really crazy is some of y'all loud people that be talking loud and doing nothing. Some of y'all can't fight. Let's keep it a buck. Now, I'm not talking about the ones that can. I'm talking about the majority of y'all that talk a lot of shit and can't fight. I'm talking about y'all. Y'all be testing quiet people. Y'all be saying, oh, they ain't about that life. They can't fight. They can't do da-da-da-da-da. But when you wake up that quiet storm, you're gonna wish that you never did. Because all you loud people, y'all be out here provoking these quiet ones. I'm just saying. Don't say I ain't told you so. Leave them quiet ones alone.
She ain't never lying.
Let's talk about the sun being weird lately. More on this in a minute. And yes, it's real. I was on Twitter this morning and I came by this post. And in this post, he is literally saying that these tomatoes are cooking from the inside out. Like, you can literally smell them being cooked. What's going on? I don't ever remember a time in the past where our vegetables got cooked in the garden.
See here, same thing's happening. They're burning and turning to goo, like they're being cooked from the inside. Here's another one. This thing was completely fine yesterday. Overnight, that happens. It's all burnt right there, literally singed. And you can smell it. It smells like a cooked tomato. It's really, really weird. But it's true. That guy from Georgia wasn't lying. Think about what the sun's doing to you. It's doing this to a tomato.
That's crazy. I think we've all noticed a huge difference in the sun, especially the way it makes us feel. I'm part Cherokee, and every summer I get dark brown. I've been in the sun for hours so many times, and it's done nothing to me. Not to mention, I've literally showed you guys where things are burning down outside that otherwise would not normally burn. And this record heat wave we're having, this was like in China or something. Bizarre. And with the crazy sun and crazy heat, look at all these freaking fires. And also in the last few days, someone took a bite out of the sun. It's just, y'all, it's weird. It's not normal. And we're not even gonna get into the magnetic field right now. Maybe later. Let me know what y'all are thinking down in the comments.
No lie, the sun has definitely been acting up, but man, it's been killing all the food, man, all the vegetables and all. That's crazy though, man, but it has been acting crazy though. I know here in Texas, today, July 31st, it's kind of, the sun was looking a little funny outside. It was sun, you know, the sun was out all bright and stuff, but it looked like it was real like groggy or like kind of muggy in a way, not foggy, but like smoky in a way, like in the distance, like in the clouds, like it was something trying to block the sun, like if they had sprayed. Basically, that's what I'm getting at. It looked real crazy. If y'all in Texas or anywhere else, y'all let me know how it looked today. For y'all, I'm talking about from probably 11 to around, well, probably from about 9 to 10 something. Yeah, about 10 something to probably right around 3 something, or about 1 or 2 something when it kind of cleared up a little bit. But I went outside around 3 something. It was still kind of looking a little bit the same, but not as much. But let me know, man. I'm here in Texas. Where you at? Let me know what it's looking like. July 31st, 2024.
For y'all out here that's out here practicing astral projection, stop playing with God. The enemy got y'all thinking that y'all the top of the line because y'all got a little bit of demonic power and you able to travel outside of your body and do all these illegal stuff through the spirit. You better stop before you lose your life. There's people out here who are doing astral projection, going into people's houses, listening to people's conversation, doing witchcraft, doing all these word curses and all these type of stuff. And you're going to mess around and you're going to go to the wrong house. Because somebody is going to get before God because they have discernment and they're going to pray that God will cut the civil cord. Meaning that you don't have the ability to go back to your body. You're going to die and you're going to go straight to hell. Y'all out here doing this demonic stuff, witchcraft, and operating in this demonic power. Y'all out here doing this illegal stuff, you psychics and you witches, getting words that has nothing to do with the Holy Spirit. You need to repent. And y'all know exactly who I'm talking to. Astral projection is demonic. It is spiritually illegal. Okay, you're going to mess around and you can't make it back to your body. So if you're doing this and you know who you are, repent before you end up at the wrong prayer warrior's house, the wrong intercessor's house, the wrong prophet's house. You better repent. Because the enemy will boost your head up, making you think you got this little bit of power and you doing all this so-called good stuff. But there's one power that is greater than the power that the enemy is allowed to walk in. And that's the power of Jesus Christ. So take your little demonic powers, throw it to the ground, repent, surrender everything about you to Christ so that your soul will be saved. But the enemy is taking some of y'all to hell right now. And no matter how many times people say repent, y'all just won't listen until you end up knocking on the wrong door and you can't go back to your body. Astral projection is a sin. It is illegal. Stop playing with God.
Man, some people need to hear that, man, because they really out here practicing on astral projection and all kind of that. Oh, wait. No, nonsense. You got to cut it out, man. You got to stop it, because that ain't it, man. And you know it, man. You gonna really awaken yourself, awaken something else inside you, or not awaken something else inside you, but allow something else to awaken inside you. That's gonna creep inside you and awaken inside you, man. Don't be doing that stuff, man. For real, you gonna let them spirits in you.
Snoop Dogg, you really gonna act like you didn't know what was put around your neck? Talking about it's just a chain that promotes peace and love all around the globe. But never throughout your whole career, your whole life, have you ever mentioned God. And you're as old as dust, still doing a crip walk with a torch. I'm confused here. It's like these people are completely blinded and completely lost and confused by their own selfishness, narcissistness, conceitedness. Men worshiping men and women, but not acknowledging the Creator. And this is going to be the downfall of your demise. They don't know what's coming. They don't see it. These people are completely lost. But didn't the Bible warn and tell you so? In the last days, people will be cold-hearted, careless, selfishness, conceited, narcissist, just completely lost and are falling away. And it's happening.
Oh man, say man, call your Uncle Snoop. That's what you be calling him, huh? Uncle Snoop. That's what you would call him before that. Call your Uncle Snoop. Tell him, man, you need to get right, man. Stop. Say, man, get your life right, man. Stop representing that there, man. Talking about, and then you trying to mislead the youth, man. Talking about the GOAT, the bathroom. Yeah, that's another way that they lead y'all to represent, and not even just represent, but to, you know what I'm saying, accept the Baphomet. Yeah, if you catch my drift.
I've been telling y'all Mr. Beast is a fraud. I've been telling y'all that his fucking videos have fucking his friends winning money and shit like this. And what happens? Now it all comes out, and they're burning him on that N-word, aren't they, right now, Jim? And guess what? Making fun of me for being street friendly and shit like that. Well, now I produce rap, and guess what, man? Maybe I'll slip up, maybe. But you know, because it's all love, and that's why with you, that's not how it is making slave jokes. I write lyrics from the heart all day, man. And then my mouth doesn't say them. You know what I mean? But it can be a slip up. For sure. Jimmy, your shit didn't look like any slip-ups occurred. You were making jokes about how much slaves cost. And I'll leave it at this. Your creativity ain't there, cool? Because you already know it's about that sweepstakes fucking model. And that's what you like. Give them all hope. If you like my shit, you have a chance to win. Don't you, Jim? Don't they? Don't they all have a chance to win? Well, yeah, that's a sweepstake. Guess what, motherfucker? It's got to be no purchase necessary. You got that, but guess what? You gotta have fair odds, and you gotta talk about people's odds too, man. All right.
Hey, let me stop. Mr. B's, cuz on your ass. Your brother, man, cuz he on your trail, man. For real.
Be careful. Today's going to be a pretty scary one.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you're pushing it in. Huh? You're pushing it in.
Oh my gosh. It's an arena right now. It's an arena. That thing is not safe.
Kids, do not try this at home. Those guys are definitely professionals. Like I was saying, do not try that at home, even though it looks fun. They turn to a little sand canal, look to a creek, to a river, to, hey man, hey, y'all seen what was going on, man? That was crazy, but it was definitely looking fun, but it's definitely dangerous.
What we're here to talk about today is the fact that the brain is and will be the 21st century battlescape in many ways. End of story. You will encounter some form of neurocognitive science that has been weaponized not only in your military career, but in your personal and professional lives. It is valid, valuable, and already in operational play. The brain is the current and future battle space. What's new about this is the in-close nature of this. Increasingly, we're not seeing these things as weapons of mass destruction against gross aspects of the population. More specifically, perhaps, might be targeting individuals on a level that allows either direct attribution or covert engagement with non-attribution. If we talk about what brain science is, let me just give you a little bit of brief background on this field that is now called neuroscience. As a titular field, as a named field, neuroscience has only been in existence for 40 years. I know that because I've been a neuroscientist for about 38 of those 40 years. Increasingly, it is becoming an international, multinational, global, and independently exercised event and endeavor, which increases the capability of the brain sciences to develop not only new theories, but ever more sophisticated tools. So, how then can we use these elements as weapons, means of contending against others? Formal definition of a weapon, probably the one that you've heard about most recently, most contemporaneously in the literature, is the possibility to use some form of directed energy to affect physiology peripherally and also to affect the physiology and health of the brain. Case in point here, U.S. Embassy personnel in Havana and possibly in China. Clearly, one of the things we can also do is transcranial neuromodulation, the idea of going through the skull to modulate the node and network activity of the brain, to implant certain brain-machine interfaces. These are many of the DARPA programs that you may hear of now. Probably the one that is most notorious is something called the N3 program, which is the non-invasive neurosurgical neuromodulation program being run by their program manager, Dr. Al Mundi. The idea here is to put minimal-sized electrodes in a network within a brain through only minimal intervention to be able to read and write into the brain function in real time, remotely. And then, of course, you also have the things that are a little bit more traditional. If we talk about things that can be operable in the biochemical space, we ordinarily talk about drugs, bugs, toxins, and ever more, we're considering devices. I can disrupt an individual from the level of their cell to their system, and disrupt individuals on a variety of levels, from individuals all the way up to the social fabric. Target a specific individual, change or eliminate that individual with very little attribution and trace, and be able to leave prior to any attribution. Drugs can be exceedingly specific, and as I'll show you in a moment, can be very, very much used to individualize weaponology in terms of what we call precision pathology or precision effect. And by affecting the way that brain is built and the way it functions, influence in ways that are kinetic and non-kinetic. The attitudes, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, activities. Look at the power that understanding, tools, and techniques the brain sciences afford. We also see the use of biodata as a viable weapon, manipulating biodata so that I can then put into your particular medical records subtle information that may change the disposition of whether you're sick or not, change how you're treated, influence the postures that go to you in terms of insurance, care, viability for military service. By altering that information, by changing those data, by purloining those data, I essentially change the you of you. And I can do that in very subtle and insidious ways. Furthermore, I can do that on a variety of different levels that can affect key individuals so that in fact your medical record changes to thereby render you incapable or at least invalid to be able to serve in a way you're serving. Or I can do that on a much larger scale, groups, populations. And if I change those data, I change the way you're being regarded and treated. And I can do that in one of two ways. I can do it in such a way that you're going to be regarded in a negative sense, or I can do that in such a way that I'm going to treat you incorrectly. If I say, for example, you have a particular allergy or you have a particular disorder, you will be treated for that, and that could then harm your health and your stability in both a short wars approach as well as a long wars approach. One of the newest developments is that nanoparticulate matter can be stabilized for distribution. If you're not aware of what nanoparticulate matter is, it's that matter which exists on a scale of 1 × 10⁻⁹. Very, very small. Smaller than a cell. And we can manufacture materials that have discrete properties that can be controlled by virtue of bioengineering and their physical chemistry. I can create small robotic units, controllable robotic units at the nanoscale, and that these too can be aerosolized to create a nanoswarm of biopenetrable materials that you cannot see, that can penetrate all but the most robust biochemical filters, that are able to integrate themselves through a variety of membranes, mucous membranes, and wherever, mouth, nose, ears, eyes, can be then uptaken into the vascular system to create clumping, can affect the vascular system of the brain, or can directly diffuse into the brain space, and these can be weaponized. And they can be done in such a level that their presence is almost impossible to detect, and as such, the attribution becomes exceedingly difficult to demonstrate. We've come to the precarious position of opening the proverbial can of worms of if, how, in what ways, to what extent, and when these techniques and technologies will be used in weaponized intelligence and national security agenda. Are civilian ethics even viable any longer? And if we engage military ethics, what military ethical principles will we engage?
Dang, when they said they could change the you of you in very insidious ways, they meant that. And I believe that too. That's wild.
This is aerogel, the world's lightest solid material made up of 99% air. Aerogel is 150 times stronger than steel but lighter than air. It's so lightweight that you won't even feel its weight when placed on a scale. The weight of 1 cubic centimeter of aerogel is only 0.201 grams. This material can transform seawater into drinkable water, withstand temperatures up to 800 degrees Celsius, making it ideal for use in rockets by ISRO and NASA. While eco-friendly, aerogel is quite expensive, with a kilogram costing around $90,000. However, future mass production may reduce its price.
Man, that seems impossible.
This right here gives me superpowers. It let me build real silent Black Panther shoes, just like in the movie. Regular shoes are too noisy. So to make silent shoes, I needed a material that would absorb the sound of walking. I tried foam, sound panels, leather, rock wool, a bunch of other stuff too. But then I found aerogel. It's 99% air and is created by evaporating off liquid inside gel. So you're left with just its structure. The result is a low-density material with extremely low sound conductivity. Basically blocks the sound, which is perfect for these silent shoes. And researchers in Singapore have made flexible aerogel sheets. It's super spongy thanks to the aerogel nanocrystals inside, which you can see here. I slipped them into the sole of the shoe, and you'll never hear me coming. Oh, and did I mention I made them retractable?
Boy, that's next level tech, for sure.
99% air and 1% glass, has been debuted by Coperni at Paris Fashion Week. It uses NASA's silica aerogel, the lightest solid on planet Earth. And amazingly, it can somehow hold items as heavy as your iPhone.
Fancy. I know that was expensive, man. How many of you have ever heard of aerogel, man, before this video? Me personally, I haven't. That is crazy. It has to be some type of alien technology or something, man, because it is crazy how strong it is. It's flame resistant, how light it is. Think about this. It's almost invisible until you put it next to a dark surface. That's wild.
You have to see this. What you're about to witness is the lightest solid material known to mankind. My own brother is unboxing a little bit of what is called aerogel, and this is made up of 99.9% air. They take molecules, extract the water, replace it with gas, and this is what you get. Now check this. NASA uses this to capture materials on the back end of comet tails so they can analyze it later. But it actually has the best insulating capability to any other material known on Earth. And also, per gram per ounce, this is worth and priced higher than gold. Can you believe it? A valuable substance with great utility. Let me know. Pretty cool translucent stuff, but would you purchase it as an investment store of value?
It's literally like a piece of cloud, man. It's invisible. Do you see this? It's crazy. It's like a piece of blur. Like, literally, that's wild. I've never seen this, never heard of it. It's amazing.
Many people know that aerogel is extremely light, but another unique property is that it's hydrophobic, which means it repels water. Watch this.
I know what type of installation I'm gonna be using in my house pretty soon.
All I'm offering is the truth. In debt, your payments past due. Your life just races past you. Wake up, the Matrix has you. Wake up, the Matrix has you. We are enslaved like cattle, held back with chains and shackles. Wake up, the Matrix has you. Wake up, the Matrix has you.
Crazy.
I got a cool thing to show you. It's in this tube. Ooh. Ha. Can barely see it, can you? It's called aerogel. It was pioneered by NASA back at the dawn of the space shuttle era, and it is the lightest solid substance ever devised. It is the closest thing we've ever come to a ghost. It is solid. You can hear me touch it. Oops, I broke it. This stuff has remarkable properties. Heat has a very hard time getting from one side of it to the other. Not only that, if it does get hot, it immediately cools. I could take a blowtorch to this, have it glow red hot. In the time it takes me to put the blowtorch down and come back to it, it's at room temperature. So NASA realized this would make ideal heat tiles for any spacecraft re-entering, such as the space shuttle. It's made of a long polymer chains that initially they're sort of in a liquid, but then you evaporate the liquid that would otherwise contain it, and you're left with just the molecular strands. And they're completely intertwined. And so there it is. And so I have a whole container of it here, because that's how I roll. And there it is. It's a ghost. Some of my favorite stuff out there.
Have y'all ever heard of sky ice? And if you have, do you think this could be another form of it, or could this be sky ice, period? Because you know they say it's different forms of it and it's made out of different materials. But then again, you know what? Since I said that, I have to take that back. But then again, they might be trying to make a form of sky ice out of different materials. Let's just say it like that. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section.
Unbelievable. The inventor of aerogel is truly a genius. As the lightest solid material in the world, aerogel is composed of 99% air, making its density extremely low, even lighter than cotton and feathers. Visually, it looks like a puff of smoke, so light that it won't even crush a dandelion. Hence, it is also known as solid smoke. The internal structure of aerogel is extremely loose, with more than 80% being air, giving it a density that is only 1,000th that of glass, and making it 150 times stronger than steel. Even at high temperatures of 1200 degrees Celsius, aerogel remains heat resistant. Infrared observations show that high temperatures cannot penetrate aerogel, almost completely insulating heat transfer. This material is not only light and heat insulating, but also incredibly strong, able to withstand 1,000 times its own weight. Even when crushed into powder, aerogel can be applied to hands to become waterproof gloves. What fields do you think it could be used in?
You know, they should use those for firefighter uniforms, bulletproof vests for maybe officers or army, you know, vets, or not vets, but army officers and stuff like that. People that are in the army and the Marines. And probably wetsuits for people who do dives and stuff like that, since it's waterproof too. Man, that's crazy. That's a good idea.
You know, there's an alien intelligence that knows all, 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 knows all.
Alien technology.
Threw it in the air, it probably come down slow like a cloud of smoke.
Ah, allez, on est prêt. Voilà, comme ça, vous allez voir. Wow.
This bag is made of 99% of air. They also call it nothing because it's anti-material, and 1% of glass to hold the shape.
The name of this material is aerogel. NASA used it for in the satellite, in the space, to catch the stardust, and yeah, that's great.
Le sac il est fait en Grèce, à Athènes. Le logo il est fait à Limassol en Chypre.
Oui. We just discovered for the first time the aerogel bag, the air sway bag, which is unbelievable. We've done a lot of research and development for many projects, but this one is beyond. It's like a cloud. I mean, we had this reference picture, which is a bit of aerogel material, which flies, and we were so curious to understand how it worked. And Sebastian is a geek. He always searched on Google plenty of innovation and materials, and we contacted this engineer, and we've been working on it for many months, during 3 months.
Wow.
C'est le sac le plus léger au monde.
37 grammes. Wow. Comme c'est de la nanomatière,
ouais.
Et il arrête les lasers, c'est un laser pointer. C'est comme du frozen smoke. En NASA, il appelle la fumée gelée.
La fumée gelée.
The bag is 30 grams and it can hold, I think, 4,000 times its weight, yeah. Probably like 12 kilos or something like that.
Tu veux de face?
Pile de face, ouais.
Alors on voit pas trop que c'est du aérogel de travers pour qu'on capte les petites transparences. Là c'est bon.
Exactly. It's the first time that they create such a big object made of aerogel. This was very challenging to recreate the shape of the swipe bag and to make that amount of material in aerogel was really challenging. He broke so many, probably, I don't know, 30, 50, until he found the perfect one. So this material was created in 1937, and I have a bit here, and it's unbelievable. It's like, and it changed the color. It's so poetical. It's crazy. Each season, we try to push innovation forward, and we try to do our classic iconic swipe bag into different materials. So we have done a meteorite bag, pure gold bag, glass bag, disc clam, yeah. And this one is probably the most, yeah.
Well, you've really topped it this time, no?
Yeah, thank you.
Will it be available on order?
Maybe. Probably. Let's see. We're gonna work on it.
It's for fashion history.
Yeah.
Like this, I just took a random piece of metal that I had lying around and I hammered it into the rough shape that I wanted. I then used an angle grinder to shape it even more, and I finished it up on a grinding wheel. This was the final result, and it wasn't perfect, but it was honestly way better than I thought it would be. At this point, the chamber and everything about it was finally and totally done, and the gels were done as well. I had finished cycling them all in the methanol, and I was ready to turn them into aerogel. So, I started by filling the chamber with 45 mils of methanol, and I pulled out one of the gels. I then carefully lowered it in, and I made sure that there was enough methanol to completely cover it. I wiped down all the threads to get rid of any methanol that might have been there, and I screwed on the window. Like before, I first did this as tight as I could with my fingers, and then I really cranked it down. I then carefully carried the whole thing back to the stand, and I attached the CO2 hosing. I also taped the camera to the window to film inside. When I first tried this, I used a phone, because I assumed that a camera wouldn't be able to focus that close. However, the camera and lens that I was using apparently didn't have any problem. I then opened the main tank, and I carefully turned the valve so the liquid CO2 would only trickle in. The goal here was to fill it really slowly over the course of about an hour. I was hoping that I'd be able to see the gel in the chamber, but it was unfortunately just barely out of view. I kind of expected that though, because the gel was so low down, and the windows were mostly just to help keep track of the liquid CO2. For this whole supercritical drying part, I found it very hard to find a decent procedure. There didn't seem to be a lot of info available, and I was only able to find a few complete ones. The one on aerogel.org was quite good, but I wasn't sure about the quality of their final aerogel. From the photos, it all definitely worked, but they looked like they had a lot of cracks, and I ideally wanted mine to be crack-free. So what I ended up doing was combining their procedure with another one that I found, and I also injected some of my own ideas. One of the biggest factors when it came to making crack-free aerogel seemed to be speed, where slower was almost always better. This was the main reason why I was adding the liquid CO2 over the course of an hour. If I added it too quickly and it mixed too much with the methanol, it could create stresses at the surface of the gel, which could cause it to crack. When it was barely over halfway full, the liquid CO2 usually stopped coming in, and to get more, I had to open this valve on the right. Doing this let some of the CO2 gas out of the chamber and lowered the pressure, and it let more liquid CO2 come in from the tank. I only opened it a very small amount, and when the chamber was eventually full, I closed it again. Then, I let it sit like this for 30 minutes. It can be a bit hard to tell here, but there are two layers where the liquid CO2 is sitting on top of the methanol. To make it more clear, I went ahead and shook it a bit, but this probably wasn't the best for the gel. For the most part, besides when I shook things, these two solvents were completely separated, and they were only slowly mixing together. It wasn't enough for them to just blend together, but a small amount of each of them was dissolving into the other. This meant that the gel was only slowly getting introduced to the CO2, which again was a good thing. When I came back 30 minutes later, they'd clearly mixed quite a bit, and the methanol layer had expanded. It was always kind of hard to tell exactly where the methanol was, but it had clearly shifted up, and the light was getting warped in a different place. They were still mostly separated though, and because methanol was more dense, it was sitting at the bottom. This was convenient because the next step was to drain it, and it meant that all I had to do was open the valve at the bottom of the chamber. This again had to be done really slowly, and the target was to do it in about 2.5 hours. When I stopped seeing methanol dripping out, the CO2 in the chamber was just above the gel, and I closed the valve. When I was done, I checked how much methanol I had, and it was about 40 mils. I started with 45 mils though, so there was still some methanol mixed in with the CO2 in the chamber. Some of the methanol also probably got vaporized as it came out and just went into the air. So for this reason, it was really important to do this in a well-ventilated area to avoid breathing in a bunch of methanol. I refilled it, again slowly, over the course of about 30 minutes, and I brought it up above the window. Then after that, I let it sit overnight, and I waited for the methanol that was still in the gel to slowly get swapped for the CO2. When I came back the next day, it looked pretty much the same, and I opened the valve at the bottom. I collected everything, but this time, it was mostly CO2. I was getting mostly dry ice, which was forming as the liquid CO2 was leaving the valve. Under normal atmospheric pressure,
This is the most terrifying water in the world, dry water. By completely immersing a mobile phone in dry water, the phone can still function normally. Even if you fill a computer case with dry water, it can still work properly. Dipping your hand into boiling dry water causes no harm. This is because dry water has a boiling point of only 45 degrees Celsius, making it highly volatile, and a small bottle costs $138. You can even use it as a dumbbell. It has a high density, with a small bottle weighing 15 keys. When you immerse a piece of paper with writing on it, you can see that the water easily dissolves the writing, but dry water does not affect it. Due to its high fluorination level, the carbon in dry water cannot be oxidized, and water vapor does not affect flames. The weight of dry water vapor is several times that of air, so the smoke from extinguished matches can flow and form real clouds. Pour it on a burning side of a candle, and all the candles will be extinguished because oxygen is pushed away by the vapor of dry water, thus putting out the candles. Due to the unique properties of dry water, all substances have difficulty mixing with it. Tea bags that dissolve in water perform poorly in dry water, and even alcohol cannot mix with it.
I wonder if this is the same water that they use to make dry ice, man. If it is, that's wild. I never heard of dry water, but I hope y'all ain't out here trying to drink that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think it's going to do nothing for you, not what you think it's going to do for you. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Dry water. Man, that's crazy.
Aerogel.
Aerogels are a class of materials that can be made out of pretty much anything. Like sculptures can be made out of stone or clay, and very similarly, aerogels can be made out of these different raw materials.
Which opens the door to nearly limitless possibilities. Aerogels are almost completely made out of air, and are considered one of the lightest solid materials ever known. The most popular type of aerogel is silica-based.
Silica aerogels have been used by NASA in the Stardust mission. NASA utilized this material because it was lightweight and also had a porous structure such that they can capture this space dust material.
Silica aerogels have also been used as insulation on NASA's Mars rovers and are even being used as insulation for thinner, warmer outerwear here on Earth. This material tends to get the most attention, and sometimes gets mistaken as the one and only aerogel. But aerogels can also be made out of metals, polymers, and of course, graphene, which brings us to the X Lab.
In the X Lab, the Extreme Environment Microsystems Laboratory, we make tiny but tough electronics and materials.
Like graphene aerogel, which has the super strength and electrical conductivity of graphene in the form of a light aerogel.
There's two main steps in creating graphene aerogel. The first is to create the graphene hydrogel. So you start with graphene oxide flakes and you disperse those in an aqueous solution. And then once you have your graphene oxide dispersion, you can load that into a furnace and heat that to about 200 degrees Celsius, and that will form your hydrogel. So it's exactly like making Jell-O, where you put in the powder and then you add the hot water and you let it cool and you have a Jell-O. And so a hydrogel is the graphene Jell-O. And then the second part is taking away the liquid from that and leaving just air in the structure.
Making a graphene aerogel is special because of its two-dimensional nature. And so making a graphene aerogel allows us to study the way two-dimensional flakes or sheet interact with each other when we bind them together.
And the atomic structure of a material determines its different properties. Which is why, despite the fact that diamonds, pencil lead, and graphene are all made entirely out of carbon, they each have very different characteristics. And then there's gravity. Scientists are eager to solve the mystery of how the structure of graphene aerogels will behave in microgravity. To find out, Debbie's team is preparing to send a payload to the ISS with all the necessary components to make graphene aerogel in space, basically using the same two-step process outlined earlier.
The first step, making the hydrogel, is actually the one we're interested in for the space station. When you're dealing with liquid to solid phase transitions, there is concerns you have to worry about, especially with dispersions, like with the powder, because gravity is going to pull those down, and that creates anisotropic, unevenly distributed graphene hydrogel, which then gives you an unevenly distributed graphene aerogel. And that in turn affects the properties. So you could have, with that, less electrical conductivity, lower absorption.
The International Space Station is, of course, in outer space, so gravity's effects are minimized.
The flakes are free to float around homogeneously, and when we perform the reduction step in the furnace on the space station, that will give us a more uniform macrostructure.
Synthesizing graphene aerogels in a microgravity environment is really exciting because it can potentially advance many of our engineering applications, such as the development of batteries, the development of thermally insulating materials, and also sensor materials. We are currently about 1 year into the project, and so we are hoping, fingers crossed, to launch our payload within the next year. Once we get the payload back, we hope to learn, number one, what is the mesostructure of a microgravity synthesized aerogel? So structurally, what does it look like? Is it different from an earth-based material? We plan on measuring the mechanical properties, the thermal properties, and the electrical properties of the aerogels and compare the earth-based properties to the microgravity-based properties.
Equipped with this knowledge, if researchers can crack how to manufacture graphene aerogels in microgravity, then the way we explore space could change completely.
The idea is to take raw materials, bring it up to the space environment, build what you need, and then deploy it from space. So that's kind of the big vision there.
While we're not at that point yet, this graphene aerogel experiment is moving us towards that possible future.
So I think some of the first demonstrations and first validations of our work could happen within the next 5 to 10 years.
The thought that a new era of material science is just around the corner, which could in turn herald a new era of human space exploration, is a thrilling concept for Debbie and Jessica.
It's just cool. It's the new frontier, I guess. It's just unexplored. It's the future.
Aerogel. Aerogel. I ain't gonna say aerogel. Aerogel. That's some magnificent material, man. I really think it's some alien technology, but I mean, they showed us, you know, part of the process how to make it, which is crazy long at that, man. But that's wild, man. This is definitely gonna be a material of the future, man. They say that they use it to collect stardust, but maybe this part of the firmament, you know. because we all know they can't go out of space. Well, space is what the space is in what they tell us, you know. But hey, who knows, man? This aerogel is something serious, man. I ain't gonna lie. But if y'all liking the video so far, don't forget to hit that like button and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're new to the channel. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. It's all love.
Here's a science story from Interesting Engineering that I'm not sure if I believe or not. A scientist claims to have invented a new aerogel that hits 104% solar reflectivity and boosts super radiative cooling, which I was very confused about. I'm not sure how you get above 100% reflectivity, meaning you're reflecting more light than actually hit the surface to begin with. And the scientist says that it achieved this in the visible region, which is obtained by the photoluminescence effect, which I'm not super up to date on. I'll just say that it does sound confusing. But let's talk about what was invented. This is a representative image of the subject matter. The aerogel in particular will look something like this as it's a manufactured material. But this comes from the Sichuan University in China, devised an aerogel composed of gelatin and DNA that beat this 100% solar reflectance. He says the reflectivity is obtained by testing with a post-spectrographic UV-Vis NIR device. And what he says is that the luminescence of aerogel originates from the tightly cross-linked network formed by the gelatin and the DNA, which allows the chromophores to come together and inhibit the non-radiative leaps of the system. Or in more simple terms, which thank God we have here, it has the ability to reflect a lot of sunlight due to its special layered design and unique way of glowing when exposed to the light. Though that still doesn't explain to me how we get above 100%. In my head, I'm thinking maybe what it's doing is converting some infrared or non-visible light into visible light, so we get more visible light reflected from the material, but still the total amount of energy that hits it is greater. That's what's making sense for me. They want to use this as a building material, which sounds great, especially because they're environmentally friendly. Aerogels typically are fabricated from biomass raw materials, in this case gelatin and DNA, which pollute a lot less. They're very recyclable, very biodegradable, and I think this is a cool thing if it works, even if he's fudging the numbers a little bit, and maybe it's not 104% reflective, which I still genuinely don't understand. It's still going to perform very well, and if you can make this at cost, it can help keep a lot of homes really cool.
Same, man. I'm kind of like him. Like, how the hell did you get it past 100%, man? Come on, man. 100% pure? Over 100% pure? Man, it sounds like it's some fishy business going on, man. What's really happening, man? Let me know what you think about that. But that is some cool stuff, man. That, like I was saying, man, this material is amazing. It's amazing.
So I somehow wound up on conspiracy TikTok yesterday, and this video that I came across, which I would stitch, but he had his stitches turned off. He was saying that basically aerogel is the firmament, whatever that is supposed to mean. I don't know. And he was trying to say that Elon Musk's rocket that failed to launch or whatever earlier last week hit that material in the sky, and that's why it crashed and blew up. And I just the lengths that people will go through to make up these wild, conspiracies rather than look at evidence. I'm still trying to figure out how you went from aerogel to using it as evidence that the earth is flat. I don't understand. Somebody help me out.
Now known as the Sky Stone, according to analysis, an amazing 77.17% of the stone is somehow made of pure oxygen. The remaining percentage was divided between carbon, calcium, and another unknown element. When researchers crushed a piece of the sky rock and mixed it with acetone, hexane, and methylene, and then enhanced the extractions with ultrasound, they were eventually able to locate an organic compound that is currently unknown to science. Just what is the Sky Stone? How could it possibly be made mostly of oxygen?
This is aerogel.
the world's lightest, that is least dense solid. This piece has a mass of just 1.22 grams. That is only a few times the mass of the same volume of air, which kind of makes sense because it is 99.8% air. In fact, some aerogels are so light that if you removed all the air from them, they would be less dense than air. So now let's try the aerogel. It is getting pretty hot, as you can see through the thermal camera. But coming up on 3 minutes, there's still no sign of melted chocolate. So we're going to pull out a thermocouple and just check the temperature underneath the bunny, like underneath the aerogel, and see what the flame temperature is. You can kind of see that the parts of the bunny are getting hot, but it's not the bottom of the bunny, it's all the around the bunny.
Exactly. That convective heat is moving up and around the aerogel. So you can... It's not that it's hot, it's that it's brittle.
Elements that you'll ever find or hear about that nobody talks about. The reason why they can't really talk about it is because it's very hard for them to use it. It's a geopolymer, and only, like they say, like the elders of Kilimanjaro, only certain clans know how to preserve it to keep it, because it only can really last. If once you get a piece of it and you chilling with it, after a while, it will just eventually disappear, because it's actually made up of chip permanent, as the story goes. And what it is, it's very heavy, right? Like if you drop it, it sounds like a rock, like a heavy rock. But when you pick it up, it's dumb light. It's crazy light. But like if you throw it in the air, they say it kind of like comes down a little slower.
It almost felt like you could throw it up in the air and it would just float back down. But I didn't try that. It didn't melt into water. When it got warm, because we had it inside, it just started to shrink. It got smaller and smaller, but my glove never got wet. And there was no water on the floor. The stuff just turned into thin air when it got warm and vaporized.
They've been experimenting on how to preserve it even longer, but they don't really know how to do it, because after a certain time, like I said, it just disintegrates. It disappears. It evaporates.
If you look at aerogel on a light background, it's almost impossible to see because it is pretty transparent. But if you look at it on a dark background, then you can see that it has a slight bluish color. And it's bluish for the same reason that the sky is blue, because all those tiny little nanoscale structures, they scatter the light according to Rayleigh scattering. And the intensity of light scattered is proportional to 1 over wavelength to the power of 4, which means it scatters shorter wavelengths like blue much more than it scatters yellow or red. And for that reason, aerogel looks opaque in the ultraviolet and transparent in the infrared. Now, what do you think this would look like if I held it up to the blue sky? What do you think we would see? Would it look ultra blue? No, it looks yellow. And that's because the aerogel is actually scattering out that blue light, and so what passes through and makes it to our eyes is the longer wavelengths like the yellows and oranges. It's basically the same effect as looking at a sunset. When you see the yellows and oranges of a sunset, it's because the blue light has already been scattered out by the atmosphere the light had to pass through before it reached your eyes. So effectively, looking at aerogel against blue sky is like looking at a portable sunset. You might think that because aerogel is largely comprised of air, like 99% air, that it has the same thermal properties as air, but that is not correct. It's actually a better insulator than air is.
This is good for capturing particles, because if a particle like that were to hit a solid surface, then it just stops, immediately. My running jokes is when they build skyscrapers in Antarctica, they'll use aerogel as thermal insulation.
Why do you?
It's
basically a testimony from a scientist that was on an expedition in Antarctica who was a witness to something known as the Antarctican sky ice. It's said to be sky ice that literally falls from the firmament.
Say that.
Well, because then they'll really care about how thermal efficient it is, because it would be so cold there.
Right.
So instead of having, 10 feet of fiberglass insulation, you could have 6 inches or something of aerogel.
It's crazy, right? So allegedly, they got space up here. The waters above from the waters of the deep. So what they're doing allegedly is when they shoot rockets, if they can blast past this, then they can get into the upper waters and then bring the war to Allah itself.
Well, y'all, that's it.